Hello and welcome to another React video. In this video we're going to understand the folder structure. We're going to understand what are the important folders in the React module and what are components and what is JSX and why is React is all about components. And since React is the main focus of the React is code reusability, we're also going to see how components enable code reusability. So let's dive right into it. So inside our React folder, as you can see, we have three main folders. We have node modules, we have public folder, and then we have SRC, which is the source folder. Now, node modules contains all the important modules that are going to be used by the in the backend of the React app to create your project. Now, in the public folder, you'll see there are many files, but the most important file inside the public folder is index.html. Now, there is something peculiar about index.html, as in our whole React app, there is only one HTML file. There will never be any other HTML file, because as React, by using React, we generally create single page applications. Now, all of the content is actually rendered inside this HTML file. Now, if we go in the HTML file, you'll see I have removed some extra bloater code, but as you can see, it has one main div, one root div, and inside this root div is where actually the whole website is rendered, the whole page is rendered actually. So the first important file is index.html. Now inside the source folder we have many files here also, but the most important files inside the source folder are index.js and app.js. So inside the app index.js, you can see here some code is written. Now what does this code do? We'll understand this. And inside the app.js, as you can see, here we have a JavaScript function which is returning some HTML code. Now you might have not seen it before, because a JavaScript function returning an HTML code, it sounds a little weird, but this is not HTML. This is what we call JSX, which is the JavaScript XML. Now JavaScript XML is very similar to HTML, or you can say identical, but it has some modifications. It has many modifications. We'll see what those modifications are. Now inside the index.js, what we are actually doing is that we are getting the root div document.getElementById. We are invoking that root div and we are creating a root out of it. We are creating a DOM root out of it, the main DOM node inside which everything inside our app will be rendered. Now, by storing it inside a constant of root variable, we are rendering the app inside it. Now, this app has the syntax of HTML tag or HTML element, but it is what we call custom HTML element. App.js is a component here. Now this component is the main component of our file. Every component that we'll create further from now will be rendered inside the app.js. Now let us see how this looks on the web page. Let me remove everything inside the div. Now what we'll do, we'll write our first line of code, which is inside the h1 tag. We will write hello world, which is the most cliched line. So let's see whether this code is running or not. As you can see, the code is auto saved and it is auto reloaded inside the website. We can see the hello world is outputting on the screen. Now, as we are writing here the class name app and all of this code inside the component, if we'll inspect inside our React app, let's see if we will find those JavaScript functions here. Now we have the div root, as you can see here. We have div root with the ID root, and inside that we have class. Now as you can see here, the class name here, as you can see, the variable is the class name, but here it is class. Well, inside the JSX it is modified to class name. It does not take class, as class is the keyword inside the JavaScript, so it might create some conflicts. That's why it is modified to class name. Now inside the div with the class app, we are here the code that we are actually running. Now how this code is being written here, because inside the index.html there is nothing here. You can see that this code, this div and this hello world is not being written here. So what is actually happening is that the app.js is actually rendered inside the index.js, and everything inside the app.js is being injected inside this div with id root, and whatever code we will write and whatever components we will create, everything will be finally rendered in the index.js and under the app component, which is the root component of our React app, and that will then be injected inside the div with id root. Now let us see how the code reusability and what is actually a component, how components enable the code reusability. So as you can see here, I have created button.js. What does this do? It is a simple like button, as you might have seen in the Instagram or in the Facebook. They are actually buttons. Now the code you see here is a mixture of JavaScript and HTML. Now a component is mainly a JavaScript function which returns JSX, or you can say the modified HTML. It returns it, and then we have to invoke it inside the app.js. We have to import it. So let's import the button from button. Now after that I can use it as a custom HTML element. Now one thing you need to keep in mind, that every tag inside JSX must be auto closed or must be closed. React does not allow open-ended tags like BR or HR. Now if I see on the screen, you can see I have the like button here. Now let us see if I write another button here, will that run or not? Well, it runs, which means I have written the code for the only one time, and now I can reuse it or use it wherever I want. Now this is actually what React is for. We divide our application into the components, and these components are reusable pieces of code. Now everything inside the React is actually a component. Every file, every .js file is actually a component, and that component are further divided or nested inside other components, as I have given the button.js inside app.js, and that app.js is being rendered inside index.js. We can have as many components as we want, depending upon our need, depending upon let me give you an example. Let us move to a website like YouTube. Here, as you can see, the YouTube homepage is divided into many sections. Now each section here can be understood as a component. As you can see, we have the first header component, header here, which contains the YouTube logo and this button and the sign in option and the search bar. Now this can be broken down as a component. The side nav can be broken down as a component. This part that has many buttons for your choices can be broken down as a component, and the main file, which has the video cards, or you can see the videos, or it can also be broken down as a component. So here I have tried to explain why the React is all about component. In the next videos and the next videos to come, we will learn about how we can create better components and how we can pass data through them. by using something called as props, or it is a short form for properties. You will see it in the next video. Thank you.